Every day, the average person makes 35,000 decisions, but financial choices carry the heaviest cognitive tax. Research suggests that by 4 p.m., the brain's ability to weigh complex trade-offs is functionally depleted by a phenomenon called decision fatigue. This invisible trap is why high earners often leave thousands in uninvested cash, and today, the data behind solving it will be revealed. A landmark Columbia University study found that consumers are 10 times more likely to purchase when faced with 6 options instead of 24. In personal finance, this manifests as analysis paralysis, where people ignore retirement accounts because they cannot choose between 50 different mutual funds. Data from major brokerage firms shows that nearly 30% of employees fail to sign up for employer matches due to complex onboarding forms. This mental exhaustion leads to ego depletion, making anyone more susceptible to impulsive spending after a long workday. The brain does not distinguish between a minor dinner choice and a life-altering investment strategy, depleting the same limited energy store. But here is where the math reveals the true cost of this mental friction. For a 25-year-old, delaying a $500 monthly investment by just 5 years can result in a $400,000 loss in total wealth by retirement. This hesitation tax stems from the power of compound interest, which historically averages 10% annual returns in the S&P 500 index. When decision fatigue sets in, the default action is usually no action at all, keeping funds in low-yield accounts earning just 0.45%. With inflation frequently hovering between 3% and 4%, stagnant cash actually loses purchasing power every single month. This means that every day spent researching the perfect entry point is effectively a day spent losing real-world capital. The data tells a different story for those who remove choice from the equation entirely through automation. Successful wealth builders utilize choice architecture to automate their contributions before their willpower can intervene. By setting up an automatic investment plan, individuals ensure that 15% of their gross income is diverted instantly to brokerage accounts. This method, known as paying yourself first, treats savings as a non-negotiable bill rather than a discretionary choice. Research by Morningstar indicates that automatic rebalancing can add up to 0.5% in annual returns by removing emotional errors. When the system makes the choice, the cognitive load is reduced, allowing mental energy to be spent on increasing primary income. However, even the best systems can be undermined by specific psychological shortcuts that humans are wired to take. The status quo bias is a cognitive preference for the current state of affairs, even when better alternatives are available. Studies show that 80% of people will stay with their original bank for over a decade, despite high fees or lower interest rates. Switching to a high-yield account offering 4.5% versus a standard 0.01% can yield an extra $4,500 annually on a $100,000 balance. Overcoming this bias requires setting decision triggers, such as a biannual review of all subscription services and interest rates. By limiting financial choices to a predefined list of criteria, the risk of falling into the fatigue trap is significantly mitigated. The math proves that simplicity outperforms complexity in nearly every long-term financial metric and wealth-building strategy. Mastering personal finance is less about making the perfect choice and more about reducing the number of choices that must be made. If this changed how one thinks about financial automation, the next video breaks down the mechanics of high-yield dividends.